Okay, Silas here. Said I was going to come out to the CUNY CUNY protest. I think it's held by Pamela Geller and Milo Yiannopoulos, and 3 other people are going to be here. As you can see, the weather is pretty garbage, so there's not that many people showing up, but meeting a couple of people here. So I wanted to come check it out. There was already someone recording there. I walked by them, and then they were like, as you can see, the KKK is here. And I mean, okay, so why is she saying the KKK is here? I have no idea. There's not any hoods. I don't know if the KKK switched to like umbrellas or whatnot, but I think it's. I'll point her out. That individual right there in the video. She was recording and she's saying, "Oh, you see the KKK." Okay, so this person right here is recording everybody coming in. That was the person that I was saying, "Oh, the KKK is here." So I guess trying to get everybody's face who's entering the place. I don't know what her purpose is, but yeah. That's what's going on here. And as you can see, it's a mix of different kind of people. Seem like older people, younger people. I don't know if people understand exactly what's going on. It seems like some people are entering both sides, but I think it should have been different if there was a lot better weather. But yeah, let's get in here and see what's going on. So as you've seen in the intro, I'm here at the CUNY, the Community University of New York protest of Linda Sarsour being the keynote speaker. Linda Sarsour is an anti-Semite. There's a lot of reasons to dislike this person. Her religion, probably one of the least, but it's what she does with it, how she uses it as a shield, the things she says and then hides behind it, and the things she supports. Now, there's a lot of issues with religion, especially with Islam right now in the world. This is coming a few days after the horrible attack in Manchester, which I mentioned in the previous video. But at this protest, it was just a group of different people. As you can see, as I said right now, this person recording it, you can see those anti-protesters. There was a group of people across the street that came out, Hasidic Jewish people dressed up. I mean, not dressed up, but in stereotypical Jewish way with the black kind of suits with the long coats, the sideburns. Just they look like Hasidic Jews, but they were there saying support for Jews is not support for Israel isn't support for Jews. So there was definitely a lot of people in there who were protesting the protest, or who were at least ostensibly supporting Linda Sarsour as a commencement speaker at CUNY. Now, what I don't understand is, do people understand what they're supporting? Do people actually get the information? And that's part of why I'm making these kind of videos. That's part of why I'm going out to these events and getting more information out there and sharing this information with you. So in this video, I'm going to just I recorded some of the snippets from it. I'm going to just collect some of the snippets of different speeches and speakers that I had and put this here. I'll have some of the longer videos that I recorded of the speeches, the full videos, on this other page of mine, this other project I have called Trump Train to Magaland. The idea behind Trump Train to Magaland was that Trump is the president, and this idea that he's going to Magaland is for everyone. If he's going to make America great again, whatever he does through that process is going to affect and involve people, whether you like him, whether you don't like him, whether you don't know about him, because America is a big part in the world right now. And part of what I want to do on this site is have a location, a platform for people who attend events, both in support or against Trump, or people who have discussions around him, or people who met through Trump, or people who stopped talking to other people. Just want an area where people can come and share ideas, talk about things, present material, and other people can come, intake that material, and make up their own decisions. There's no need to just wait and have other people kind of translate this material for you if you can actually get the actual sources, and you can actually see that these are actually just regular people, everyday people on either side. There are sides in this situation. There's people who are pro-Trump, there's people anti-Trump. I've had discussions with people on both sides, and I think sharing those conversations, sharing this information with people will help, and just also track and see what's happening. So into the snippets, please check out the other site. I think I may actually include this one speech by the speaker, David Wood, who gave an excellent speech in my opinion. It was a little more academic. He went through a little of a story, and I don't know if this is the kind of information that people like. I think people prefer more of the soundbite thing. but his speech was really excellent. He told a story about the family and mixed it in with actual facts and results, and I don't know, it's worth listening to. I suggest at least checking that video out. Milo Yiannopoulos, of course, was there. People are more familiar with him, possibly. He gives more of entertaining speech, I would say. But check out the video. Thanks.
I want to say a prayer for the victims.
I can't even fold it right.
I want to say a prayer for the victims of the Manchester jihad bombing, where little girls were maimed and murdered and mutilated in the cause of jihad. I want to say a prayer for Manchester.
Lower your umbrellas! Lower the umbrellas!
I want to say a prayer for New York City. I want to say a prayer for Orlando. I want to say a prayer for Nice, for Germany, for San Bernardino, for Boston. But most specifically, I want to say a prayer for CUNY Chancellor James Milliken, that he rights this terrible wrong, that he would invite a pro-terror, vicious anti-Semite to keynote the commencement address this year is obscene and profane. You would think that the president of a Nebraska university would come to this city with Midwestern values. Instead, he was so thirsty to be accepted by the intelligentsia that he sold his soul and he sold the children of CUNY. Why are we here? We're here because we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. First of all, this is not about free speech. I'm a free speech activist. Linda Sarsour is free to speak on college campuses and does frequently. The idea of inviting her to keynote the commencement address, those invitations are bestowed upon people to enhance a college's reputation. Why would you hold her up as a role model? As Representative Carolyn Maloney said, surely CUNY can do better.
Good morning. It's good to be here and I appreciate the opportunity to speak. And I just want to ask some basic questions of all of you that are here today, including our friends over here, is that if we're interested in the truth, let's get to the truth. Let's talk about the truth. So Linda Sarsour clearly states that she supports Sharia, Islamic law. So what is Sharia? Where does it come from and what does it say? Well, according to 100% of Islamic scholars, Sharia comes from the Quran and the example of the Prophet Muhammad in the Sunnah. And when we look at what they teach here in New York City at Islamic schools and mosques, I have two books here. I have the most widely used textbook in Islamic junior high schools, and I have the tafsir that is used weekly to teach classes inside of mosques. So I'm going to start with this book, the most widely used junior high school textbook in the United States in Islamic schools, and I'm going to turn to page 2. And it says, Islam is not a religion, however, a complete way of life. 100% of Islamic doctrine defines Islam as a complete way of life, social, cultural, military, political, and religious, all governed by Sharia. 100% of all published Sharia law says it is obligatory to wage jihad until the entire world is under Islamic rule, and 100% of published Islamic law only defines jihad as warfare against non-Muslims. As a matter of fact, in this same book right here, it says of the 3 duties in Islam, one of them is jihad, and it defines jihad as this. The word jihad is most often associated with the act of physically confronting evil and wrongdoing. Not spiritual yoga, not doing your homework, not getting to work on time, but physically confronting what they define as evil in the Sharia, which is any place on the planet that is not under Islamic law. There is a picture right here of a tank, just in case the little children are confused about what jihad is. And it says this for 7th graders: anyone who dies in jihad will automatically go to paradise. A shaheed or martyr is described this way by Allah. Don't think that those who were killed in Allah's cause are dead. No, they're alive, finding the bounty in the presence of their Lord.
8 more years!
Combat Sharia! Defeat Sharia! Down with Sharia! Down with Sharia! Down with Linda Sarsour!
Down with Sharia! Down with Sharia! Down with Sharia! Down with Sharia!
He lived under the Sharia, but is being protested by lily white girls who want to have their JJs cut in solidarity with the ideology that they are shilling for. That's what you are putting this woman down. She lived under it. She lived under the Sharia, but these girls, they know better. But he asked me to read this statement. Ambassador John Bolton said, and I quote, "It is unacceptable for a publicly funded institution to foster religious hatred. The First Amendment requires that government neither support nor oppose it. CUNY's speaking invitation to an anti-Semite should never have been made and should be immediately withdrawn. Thank you, Ambassador Bolton. Surely CUNY could have done better."
Well, we're standing against oppression and Sharia and the indoctrination of young people in the wind and the rain. What a perfect day for a protest. I feel like the charge of the Light Brigade here. We've got protesters to the right of us, protesters to the left of us, protesters in front of us volleying and thundering. This is actually my first protest. We spent years as best friends, and Nabil's family had come to the U.S. from Pakistan because their sect of Islam was persecuted by other sects of Islam. Why was his sect of Islam persecuted? Because in Surah 9, verse 73 of the Quran, Allah commands Muslims to wage jihad not only against unbelievers, but also against hypocrites, Muslims who aren't following Islam correctly. And for 14 centuries, Muslim groups have been labeling other Muslim groups hypocrites and persecuting them.
I'm going to try to keep this mostly commentary free, but just had to stop here and wanted to add this. This whole thing of labeling somebody a hypocrite or just labeling somebody, othering somebody, you name somebody something and then you can persecute them. This is a technique that we're seeing being done in the media, in political fields, in a lot of places. People point at a group and they say, this is a group that's hateful. We can bash the fash now. We can punch a Nazi now. Like I said before, that person who said, okay, now the KKK has arrived. She said this before anything had happened. People were still walking in. No one had spoken. But she was already on, this is the KKK. You put somebody in that group, then you can persecute them. You really should check out this whole speech. I shall leave links in the low bar.
This is very different from what you told me. You told me Muhammad was the greatest man who ever lived. Let's look at what your own sources say. You told me about the Quran. Let's look at what your sources actually say. After a few years, Nabil left Islam. He became a Christian. And when Nabil became a Christian, I thought to myself, cool, I'm done with Islam. Because the only reason I was studying Islam was that my best friend was a Muslim trying to convince me that Islam is true and telling me that the truth is found in his sources. That's why I was studying Islam. So I was done with Islam, had no other interest in it. It took Nabil about a month. He wasn't even making his conversion public, but it took about a month for Nabil to get his first death threat for leaving Islam. It was attached to his car. This wasn't online, it was attached to his car. So this was a person who knew how to find Nabil. Now, Why was my best friend threatened with death for leaving Islam?
In America!
Because Muhammad commanded in Sahih al-Bukhari 69:22, if anyone leaves his Islamic religion, kill him. And here one of the geniuses will say, but I have a Muslim friend and he doesn't kill apostates, so Islam doesn't teach that. Oh my goodness. I have news for the lovely group to the left here. Your Muslim friend is not, has never been, and never will be an authoritative source of Islamic doctrine or practice. Islam is defined by Allah and Muhammad. Your nice Muslim friend can follow the commands of Allah and Muhammad, or they can reject the commands of Allah and Muhammad, but under no circumstances do they define what the commands are. Those commands are defined. That's why Nabeel was under a sentence of death. That's why he was being threatened, and they support it. So, why was he threatened but not actually killed? He wasn't killed because we aren't under Sharia. We don't have the legal system in place to carry out the penalty. Some follower of Muhammad might always do what it says anyway. He might take matters into his own hands and decide to carry out the penalty himself, but he'll go to jail for it. And when I started criticizing Islam, questioning the ideology that calls for the death of my best friend, a former Muslim, two interesting things happened. One, when I started sharing my reasons for criticizing Islam, a lot of other people started leaving Islam.
And what was unfair is we wanted to protest on June 1st, but you know what? The Jews couldn't come because it's their holiday. So what's a Jewish student supposed to do at CUNY? Taxpayer-funded CUNY. Are they supposed to observe their faith? Or are they supposed to go listen to a jihad inciter, anti-Semite, who cloaks her hatred and bigotry in justice? Shame on CUNY!
Shame on CUNY! Shame on CUNY! Shame on CUNY! Shame on CUNY! Shame on CUNY!
Why didn't CUNY invite Noni Darwish to speak? Here's a woman who escaped, who lived under the Sharia, who was brave, who lives under a fatwa. Let me tell you something. Do you know what it costs to put this rally on? Do you have any idea how much security costs?
Oh gosh. What is this weather about? Maybe God is Muslim after all. I notice there aren't that many Muslim protesters, but if you've ever tried to walk in a sodden burqa, you'll know why. It's enough to dissuade even the most determined jihadi. Thank you for coming out today. Now, we all agree on a few things, don't we? We all agree, for instance, that Linda Sarsour is a Sharia-loving, terrorist-embracing, Jew-hating, ticking time bomb of progressive horror. We agree on that. Now, I'll call her Linda because...
So this is Milo. He's a provocateur. He said this himself. So his speech is going to have incendiary language, terms, and issues. He does this to get attention. I think he's well-spoken. He makes some good points. Another speech you should check out to get the entire thing. So links in the low bar, but just some snippets here. Back to the video.
This week, another Muslim loser, a friend of... This week, another Muslim loser, a friend of Linda's probably, strapped a bomb to his chest in Manchester and murdered over 20 people. Now, Linda came out of nowhere. I first heard about her in that stupid Women's March. To just give you a demonstration of how stupid modern third-wave American feminists are. They're prepared to follow a woman who believes in Sharia law, while at the same time complaining about patriarchy. It is genuinely ludicrous. Now, for some reason, leftists love putting hijab-wearing women in front of things to remind us how tolerant, progressive, and feminist Islam is. Give me a break. Islam views Western progressives with the same contempt the Soviet Union reserved for the useful idiots of the American communist left. But Linda is special. She's more than just an oppressive headscarf. Lurking underneath all of that sweaty polyester is a mind that hates America and loves Sharia law. Her greatest crime, in my view, is her treatment of the heroic female genital mutilation victim and Islam critic Ayaan Hirsi Ali. Linda said that, "I wish I could take her vagina away. She doesn't deserve to be a woman." In other words, Linda's just like the men who actually did take Ayaan's vagina away. This is your leader of the modern, democratic, feminist women's movement, America, setting out to finish the job that depraved, misogynistic Muslims in Somalia started. And if you want to know what Sharia looks like in America, consider what happened in Minnesota this week, which has the largest Somali population in the world outside of Somalia itself. A bill to make female genital mutilation a felony failed thanks to the work of the local Muslim population. This is the world. This is the world that Linda Sarsour wants for you. This is the world that she is heralding in. Sharia in the United States. One in which girls have no legal protection from having their genitals sliced off. And progressives have the fucking gall to say that I'm the misogynist for cracking a few fat jokes. Yeah! To paraphrase one of the great philosophers of the 21st century, Regina George from Mean Girls, stop trying to make Sharia happen, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, so that's it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Links in the low bar. Just going to give some closing remarks. As you can see, it was a rainy day, but I think it was a good event. I'm glad I went. Just got to hear people, got to hear speakers, got to hear points, got to see people in the crowd, just a mix of people. A lot of people at these kind of events, one thing that recurs over and over again is people saying, "Oh, I can't believe there's this many people who are here to support this. You know, I can't, it feels like I'm on my own," or sometimes it feels like I'm the only one who thinks this way. And I think with the internet, with this ability to share ideas, both whether they're ideas that are presented in this video that you agree with or any other ideas, it's up to us to get out there and start sharing this information. Get out there, talk to people. As you can see, I met some of my friends there, came from different places, different walks of life. After this, we just went out and had lunch around the corner. We talked a bit about what had happened, but most of the talk was just regular everyday life, just catching up on where we'd been, what we were doing, our plans, our hopes. And one thing we shared was just how informative and peaceful the event was. Yeah, there was some scuffles after, with just different people, some reactionary flags being broken and things like that, some pushing back and forth. There's a lot of police presence, but just sharing the information. One thing I often get at these kind of events is I talk to people and I say, wouldn't it be better if more people could actually just share these conversations, could have this talk? Because when it's no longer time for words and communication still needs to be made, what do people go to? They go to physical attacks. They take it physical. Once it gets into that place, I think that's not the place that we want to go. It's not the place we should have to go if it can be avoided. So again, thanks for watching. Links in the low bar. Like, share, and subscribe. Till next video, I'll try my best to get these full-form videos up as much as possible. If anybody else was at the event or has different recordings, there's a few other events I'm going to go to as well. Just keep you guys informed. I'm going to try to get to places from different countries and probably expand this Trump Train to Magaland thing to a bigger project than just American-centric. But for there, that's where I'm at. This is where I'm going to start. Thanks. Bye.